The obsidian halls of the Galactic Council chamber hummed with bioluminescent light as representatives from 47 civilized species gathered for an emergency session. Elsa Chen, humanity's ambassador to the council, stood at the central podium, her augmented neural interface flickering with incoming data streams. The weight of 300 billion human lives pressed upon her shoulders as she prepared to deliver the message that would shatter millennia of galactic peace. The Terran Federation formally declares its intention to engage in military action against the Velkhari Dominion, Elsa announced, her voice amplified through the chamber's quantum resonance field. A collective gasp, translated through 1,000 different biological and mechanical systems, rippled through the assembly. The Zephrani representative, a crystalline entity that communicated through refracted light patterns, pulsed with colors that Elsa's translator read as absolute horror. "This is unprecedented," boomed Counselor Thexnar, the Kravan elder whose species had maintained galactic order for the past 12,000 years. His 4 eyes narrowed as he regarded Elsa with something approaching pity. "Your species joined the Council merely 2 centuries ago. You cannot comprehend what you're proposing." Elsa remained motionless, though her heart hammered against her ribcage. Behind her, displayed on holographic screens that stretched across the chamber's dome, evidence scrolled in systematic detail. Surveillance data, intercepted communications, molecular analysis of weapon signatures. The Velkhari had destroyed the human colony on Proxima Centauri b, all 7 million inhabitants vaporized in an antimatter cascade. "We comprehend perfectly," Elsa replied. "The Velkhari attacked a civilian settlement without provocation or declaration, under council law." "Council law provides for arbitration," interrupted Ambassador Cyril of the Harmonious Collective, her telepathic projection carrying notes of desperate urgency. "War is a primitive concept that civilized species abandoned eons ago. The economic sanctions, the trade embargoes, the diplomatic isolation, these are the tools of justice." David Rossi watched the proceedings from the observation gallery, his fingers drumming against the transparent aluminum barrier. As humanity's chief military strategist, he'd advised Elsa on every word of her speech, but seeing it unfold before the council filled him with equal parts pride and dread. The other species couldn't understand. They'd evolved past territorial aggression through genetic manipulation, hive mind integration, or post-scarcity enlightenment. Humanity had taken a different path. 7 million people, Elsa said quietly, but her words carried through the chamber with devastating clarity. 7 million human beings who will never see another sunrise, who will never hold their children, whose dreams and hopes and loves were extinguished in 3.4 seconds. She paused, letting the silence stretch. Her neural interface fed her real-time analysis of the council members' physiological responses. Confusion, fear, incomprehension dominated the data. "You offer us words," Elsa continued. "Sanctions that will take decades to impact the Velkhari economy. Embargoes that assume they value trade over expansion. Isolation that means nothing to a species that has chosen conquest." Counselor Thexnar's massive form shifted, and David recognized the gesture from his xenoanthropology briefings. It was the Kravan equivalent of a warning. "Ambassador Chen, if humanity proceeds with military action, you will face consequences beyond your comprehension. The combined fleet consists of technologies that could sterilize your entire home system in minutes. The economic might of the Council could reduce Earth to a pre-industrial state within months. The cultural isolation alone would be preferable to cowardice," Elsa said, and David saw several representatives recoil at the word. It translated poorly across species. Some received it as illogical caution, others as survival instinct, but none captured the human concept's full weight. The Zephrani representative pulsed with urgent yellow light. "You don't understand what war means in the modern galaxy. When the ancient species fought, before the Council's formation, entire star systems were rendered uninhabitable. Dyson spheres were shattered. Planets were converted to Compatronium for war calculations. The Velkari themselves lost their original homeworld to antimatter bombardment 15,000 years ago. Then they should understand why we cannot let this stand, Elsa replied. David's communicator vibrated, a secure channel from Admiral Martinez aboard the TFNS Indomitable, positioned at the edge of the system with humanity's first fleet. The message was simple: green light confirmed, waiting on your mark. He'd spent 3 years designing humanity's war doctrine for galactic-scale conflict. The Council species had stagnated militarily, their weapons optimized for deterrence rather than destruction, their tactics based on assumption of rational surrender. Humanity had no such illusions. Every human child learned the history of their own species, 5,000 years of nearly continuous warfare, of technological evolution driven by the crucible of conflict. The Council saw humanity's military history as evidence of barbarism. David saw it as humanity's greatest advantage. "We've prepared a compromise," Ambassador Cyril projected, her telepathic tone carrying desperate hope. "A joint investigation, followed by arbitrated reparations. The Velkari will be compelled to compensate the families, to acknowledge their error." Their error. Elsa's voice cracked with genuine emotion, and David saw her left hand form a fist at her side, the only sign of her barely controlled rage. They didn't make an error. They tested humanity's resolve. They wanted to see if we were weak like the other young species, if we would bow to Council pressure and accept words instead of justice. She turned, her augmented eyes sweeping across the assembled representatives. "Every species in this chamber has forgotten what it means to defend your own. You've outsourced your survival to collective security, to mutual deterrence, to the belief that rational actors will always choose peace." Elsa's neural interface flashed, a priority message from Earth's directorate. Authorization received. Rules of engagement confirmed. "The Velkari are not rational actors," she continued. "They're expansionists who have been contained by Council pressure for millennia, growing resentful, waiting for an opportunity. They chose humanity as their target because we're new, weak, without powerful allies." Councillor Thexnar's voice carried the weight of ages. "And so humanity will prove them wrong through violence. You'll validate every concern the Council has harbored about your species' admission. You'll confirm that you're not ready for civilization." David stood, and though observers weren't meant to speak, his movement drew every eye in the chamber. He descended the steps toward Elsa, each footfall echoing in the sudden silence. "Counselor," David said, his voice carrying the calm certainty of someone who'd calculated every variable, "civilization isn't measured by pacifism. It's measured by the willingness to protect the innocent and punish the guilty. You've built a galaxy where the strong prey on the weak, hidden behind economic consequences and diplomatic theater." He reached the podium, standing beside Elsa. "Humanity marches to war not because we're barbarians, but because we remember what you've forgotten. Peace means nothing without the strength to defend it." Elsa raised her hand, and the gesture activated the quantum entanglement communicator linking her directly to Admiral Martinez. "Execute Operation Righteous Fury," she said simply. Throughout the galaxy, humanity moved with coordinated precision. Ships emerged from quantum tunnels at predetermined coordinates. Orbital weapons platforms activated targeting solutions refined through decades of simulation. Marines boarded drop pods, their powered armor humming with reactor warmth. And on 1,000 human worlds, people watched their leaders choose dignity over submission, justice over convenience, action over words. The Galactic Council sat in shocked silence as the newest species in their careful civilization reminded the galaxy of a truth they'd spent millennia trying to forget. Some things are worth fighting for.